Hi there, welcome to GrainTV. It's Monday, April 18th. We had a strong day in wheat, but other grains were a little more mixed. Let's take a look at the grain edge trading platform and see where we closed. In Chicago, corn up 2.5 cents a bushel, continuing its winning streak for 4 days in a row. Beans giving back some gains, losing 1 3/4, while wheat showing a 13-cent advancing off of the lows from last week. But news today was pretty light in terms of wheat, but we did have some news out of South America. We continue to watch things that are bullish for corn and beans. Let's start first with Brazil. Brazil continues to be hot and dry. It was hot and dry over the weekend. That is causing concern about the second season crop. For corn down there, there continues to be some stress and we're likely to see more dryness and more heat over the next 2 weeks, as much Brazil outside of Rio Grande do Sul will see little to no significant rainfall. In Argentina, they saw heavy rains over the weekend. Showers and thunderstorms will occur frequently through the weekend into next week, with some heavy flooding likely. But as we get past this initial week, then it starts to look better, and the outlook is for much less rain past the weekend, and conditions for crop maturity will continue to improve, and they should get back into harvesting. In other South American news, more on the geopolitical side, Brazil's president got tossed, according to at least the under legislature that decided that they wanted to impeach him. This was not a terrible surprise, although the margin of that vote was pretty large, suggesting a big move to get rid of the current president that has been tied to political corruption. That has been supporting Brazilian's real for the last 6 weeks, but actually today's news sent the Brazilian real off about 1%, so it's probably one of those buy the rumor, sell the fact thing, that as we start to see structural change in Brazil's leadership, that there is a lot of unforeseen issues yet to be resolved to get that economy back on track. Other news out, the big news in oil was the breakup of the oil meeting over the weekend. Saudi Arabia said they would do no production freeze deal without Iran, and Iran, going into that meeting, said they would not be attending because they would not be participating in any freeze. So overall, that was exceptionally negative for oil, but supportive for oil was news out of Kuwait over the weekend that their oil workers there are going on strike, and that has cut their production by about 2/3 or 2 million barrels a day. So that helped push crude oil back to where it nearly was on Friday. We were down as much as $2.60 a barrel early on Sunday on the news of the Saudi pullout from the deal. But with the Kuwait news, that got oil back to almost break even, closing about 60 cents a barrel below Friday's close. Turning back to some of the grain news, Soviet Econ said that Russia will have a massive 2016 crop. They project the overall grain crop to be 103 million metric tons from a previous forecast of 98 million metric tons. So overall, there's things that are certainly positive for grains when we look at South America in terms of their potential crop problems, but it doesn't change the fact that we continue to have very, very large supplies. Yes, Argentina may have a slightly lower crop if there is indeed some crop damage here, but overall it is still a massive crop from Brazil, from Argentina, and there's plenty of world stocks to go around. So I don't see this necessarily being something that is going to keep this bull market in check for too much longer, especially when we turn to the U.S. crop conditions, where we are starting to see really good planting pace that we'll talk about here in a minute. But before we get to that, let's talk about weekly export inspections from USDA. These numbers were supportive for wheat and corn. Corn coming in just a hair below the high end of expectations of 1.1 million metric tons for the week. Soybeans in line with expectations at 256,000 metric tons, and wheat besting expectations, coming in at 456. If we look at the year-to-date scorecard, this is where we continue to watch how we're faring relative to what USDA expects. USDA looks for an 11% drop in corn exports year on year between 2014 and 15, versus what we have done so far year to date is 13% off of last year. Same with wheat, we're 12% off of last year's pace, and USDA only looks for a 9% drop. So corn and wheat continue to dog the pace needed to reach USDA's expectations. And wheat in particular has very little time left to make up that gap. After the close today, we did get news from USDA's crop progress report. The number for corn planting jumped from 4% to 13%. Analysts have been looking for a big surge, coming in at 14%. So that was a little below expectations. Probably not a big game changer one way or the other. We still have a very good corn planting. And if you look at the forecast for the next few weeks, it looks very, very favorable for the planters to roll in the Midwest. In wheat, that shower over the weekend, over the hard red winter wheat area, really improved the crop condition. We got up to 57% versus 56% yet again, in line with expectations. That's all we got today on GrainTV. As always, if you have any questions or want to talk about marketing and how we at GrainHedge can help you, give us a call, 877-472-4607, or visit us online at grainhedge.com and take a free demo of our trading platform. As a GrainHedge trading client, you'll get our technical alerts email first thing every trading day. Technical Alerts is a powerful system that generates quality trading opportunities. Each trading opportunity shows a chart and analysis providing clear price targets and risk potential. Technical Alerts look at historical chart formations and compare the current environment to the past to form concrete trading recommendations. The commodities covered by Technical Alerts includes grains, livestock, crude oil, currencies, bonds, and metals. Start your trading day with the most powerful insight into market direction and improve your trading today. Sign up at grainhedge.com to become a client.